Dear colleagues, let us resume our session. We come to the item of the agenda number 5, the public hearing on the European Neighbourhood Policy, which is the first step in working towards the own initiative report on the review of the EMP, which will be prepared by our respected colleague Edward Kukan. Let me remind you that at his hearing in the Foreign Affairs Committee, Commissioner Hahn announced that the President of the Commission had asked him to conduct a review of the policy within the first year of his mandate. This week, on the 4th of March, the Commission and the EAS will present a green paper on the review of the EMP, launching thus the consultation process. The Commission and the EAS will then conduct consultations with all the relevant stakeholders in the European Union and with the partners, and then present a final communication in the last quarter of this year. The European Parliament is aiming to contribute to this process through its own consultations and with this own initiative report. The EMP was launched in 2004 by the Prodi Commission with the aim of avoiding new dividing lines between the enlarged Europe and its neighbours, and the objective to form an arc of stability and a ring of friends along the principle of everything but the institutions. Throughout the years, what was essentially a bilateral policy, it was enriched and complemented with different multilateral dimensions, such as with the Barcelona process, which already existed, then the Union for the Mediterranean, which upgraded this framework, the Black Sea Synergy, and the Eastern Partnership. However, the developments in the neighbourhood region, particularly in the last few years, have drawn attention to the inadequacy of this policy and of its tools. It was too rigid to respond to sudden crises, and despite a high level of financial support, events have shown that the European Union was not able to encourage the creation of more stable democratic societies. The Arab Spring in 2011 and what followed shook the policy and prompted the Commission and the EAS to review it, putting a stronger focus on the promotion of deep and sustainable democracy accompanied by inclusive economic development. This review took into consideration that progress in reforms should be given greater support, therefore promoting the principle of more for more, and shifting the focus to encompass also the civil society. However, since the 2011 review, the policy has been faced with further developments, both in South and in the East, not only crises in Syria, in Egypt, in Libya, in Ukraine, but also the increasing pressure on the European Union's neighbours of competing strategic actors offering an alternative model for development. Therefore, this review comes at the right time. The European Union should look at its core and focus on the values upon which it has been built and define its priorities for relations with partners. It should consider the differences among the partners, the different ambitions, interests, stages of development, and propose a level of engagement that corresponds to this, but it should not compromise the values on which our project is based. Today with us we have two experts who will present the studies they have drawn up for the European Parliament and assess the neighbourhood policies so far and present recommendations for the future. I have the pleasure to present Mr. Grzegorz Gromacki of the Institute of Public Affairs from Poland, who is the author of the study Eastern Partnership After 5 Years, Time for Deep Rethinking, as well as Dr. Hassan Mazen from the Cairo University from Egypt, who will present a summary of the findings and the recommendations of the study on assessing the EU's policy towards the southern neighbourhood. Today, I just saw before coming to this meeting the speech of Commissioner Hahn in Vienna with his 4 points, differentiation, ownership, focus and flexibility. And in that context, I would very much like to hear your views. We made a deal, it will be in 12.5 minutes. With your strong efforts to keep the time frame, since unfortunately we are a little bit late with the topics that we previously discussed, but especially the last one, which were very much related to our discussion and this item. Of course, after your presentations, first it will be Edward to take the floor, and after that the other shadow rapporteurs. Let me now give the floor to Mr. Gromadski, please.
Thank you.